This is the Caterpillar D9 Bulldozer, a giant in the world of construction. But beyond building roads and clearing land, this beast holds a far more complex and controversial identity. In the hands of the Israeli Defense Force, the D9 has evolved from a simple tool into a strategic weapon of war. How did a civilian bulldozer become a key player in military operations? And what secret missions demand the force of such a metal monster? The Caterpillar D9 wasn't built for battle. Originally designed for heavy-duty construction, its power and resilience made it a favorite for clearing land, building roads, and shaping landscapes. But in 1954, the Israeli Defense Force saw potential far beyond dirt and rock. At the time, Israel was still solidifying its defense infrastructure. Much of its military equipment was left over from World War II, and the IDF needed machinery that could do more than just fire bullets. It needed tools that could reshape the battlefield itself. The first military use of the D9 came during the 1956 Suez Crisis. Egyptian forces had laid vast minefields and built towering earthen berms across the Sinai Peninsula. The D9's raw power allowed it to plow through these defenses, clearing mines and creating pathways for advancing Israeli troops. But the bulldozer wasn't invincible. Not yet. The IDF quickly realized that a civilian bulldozer couldn't survive on the front lines without serious upgrades, so they transformed it. Heavy armor plating was the first major addition, covering the cab, engine, fuel tanks, and even the undercarriage. This turned the once exposed operator's cab into an armored cockpit, capable of withstanding small arms fire, shrapnel, and even some anti-tank rounds. In Israel, the D9 earned the new nickname Dubi, meaning teddy bear in Hebrew. It's an oddly soft name for such a brutal machine. But this was no ordinary bulldozer anymore. The armored D9 weighed a staggering 70 tons, heavier than some main battle tanks. It could bulldoze through walls, rip up streets, and even tear down entire buildings. You might be wondering, what powerhouse is running this monster machine? The Caterpillar D9 is massive. From the front blade to the rear ripper, it measures nearly 27 feet long. It stands over 12 feet tall and spans almost 9.5 feet wide. And that's before Israel adds its armor. A standard D9 weighs about 55 tons, but once the IDF applies its modifications, armor plating, protective grills, and weapon mounts, that weight balloons to 70 tons. At its heart is a Caterpillar C18 diesel engine pumping out 452 horsepower. Now, that might not sound like much for such a heavy machine, but it gives the D9 enough torque to push through concrete walls like they're styrofoam. Its massive blade, weighing over 6 tons, can scoop up nearly 22 cubic yards of earth in a single pass. And if that's not enough, the rear-mounted ripper can dig 5.5 feet deep into asphalt or concrete, tearing it apart with over 38,000 foot-pounds of force. The D9 isn't fast. It tops out at just under 7 miles per hour, but it doesn't need speed. Its power is in its slow, unstoppable advance. So why does the Israeli military need a bulldozer like this? Because in modern warfare, especially urban combat, brute force can be a game changer. In recent years, the Caterpillar D9 has continued to play a central role in conflict zones, particularly in Palestine. Its towering frame and immense power have made it a key asset for the Israeli defense forces in urban operations. During recent escalations in Gaza and the West Bank, the D9 has been deployed to clear rubble, dismantle barricades, and expose underground tunnels. In volatile neighborhoods, it's been used to push through narrow streets, creating pathways for ground troops and armored vehicles. The Bulldozer's thick armor allows it to operate under fire, giving it the ability to move forward even in hostile conditions. However, its use has sparked global debates. The D9 has been involved in demolitions of structures claimed to house militants, but critics argue that these actions often displace civilians, leading to humanitarian concerns. Today, the D9 remains a symbol of raw mechanical force in the heart of one of the world's most contested regions, reshaping landscapes both physically and politically. But a big, slow machine is an easy target, right? Not when it's got its defensive systems. In recent years, Israel has equipped some D9s with the Iron Fist Active Protection System, a scaled-down version of the system used on Israeli tanks. The Iron Fists uses radar and infrared sensors to detect incoming projectiles, like RPGs or anti-tank missiles, and fire small interceptor rounds to destroy them in mid-air. On top of that, some D9s now come with 360-degree cameras, smoke launchers, and even remote weapon stations, allowing operators to lay down covering fire while they work. And then there's the D9T, a fully remote-controlled version. Designed for the most dangerous missions, like clearing IED-infested roads or demolishing booby-trapped buildings, the D9T lets operators control the bulldozer from a safe distance, keeping human lives out of the immediate blast zone. But with such immense power comes heavy criticism. The D9 has been labeled a weapon of oppression by critics, who argue that its use in demolishing Palestinian homes and agricultural lands crosses ethical lines. Human rights organizations have condemned its role in forced evictions and property destruction. On the other hand, the Israeli military defends the D9 as a life-saving tool, used to clear explosives, create safe pathways, and protect soldiers in volatile environments. The truth? Like most machines of war, the D9 is a tool. How it's used and how it's perceived depends entirely on the hands that control it. For nearly 70 years, the Caterpillar D9 has been reshaped, rearmed, and reimagined to meet the evolving needs of the battlefield. It's not the fastest, nor the sleekest. But when a wall needs to come down, a path needs clearing, or troops needs an unstoppable shield, the D9 gets the call. In the end, it's not just a bulldozer. It's a symbol of sheer force, a steel giant that pushes forward no matter what's in its way. It builds, it destroys, it survives. The Caterpillar D9, the bulldozer built for war. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into the machines that shape history.